And a great, big, good Monday afternoon to you and yours. It's the Cabin Fever Podcast. Hi, everybody. It's Brent Bailey on another great day. It is a very special day today. It's May the 4th. That is Star Wars Day, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with what that means. May the 4th be with you. What a great hope for the rest of the world right now, as this is the first Monday post-quarantine, and Florida, along with 20 other states, have been lifting the quarantine and people out. Lots of prayers going up today for people that are in the states that have relaxed the quarantine. We're praying that everyone proceeds with caution and wisdom. And, according to many of the testing centers, there have been a rise in cases, but there's also been a rise in the amount of tests. So we were expecting that. So what we're doing today is we are really praying and wishing all the best for the states that are running the test right now for the quarantines to be lifted. And May the 4th be with all of those who are out on the front lines, the testing centers, and those who are out fighting the battle against COVID-19. Now, because this is such an unusual day, I'm going to do something a little bit unusual. I've got two gentlemen with me today who are, very special to me, but they're also big Star Wars fans, and I'm really pleased to welcome right now my boys, my sons, Preston and Peyton. There they are on the screen as Peyton is showing off his Stormtroopers T-shirt, sweatshirt on Star Wars Day. But hi guys, love you. What are you doing?
Hello. I'm just sitting on the front porch,
Sitting on the front porch. Okay. Well, we're gonna play a little game with you guys real quick. It's called Yoda or Proverbs. Yoda or Proverbs, and so we're gonna throw that up on the screen right quick. Yoda or Proverbs. I'm going to give you a couple of sentences. You guys have to guess. Did Yoda say it, or does the book of Proverbs say it? And you're pastor's kids, so there's the pressure. The pressure is on. All right. So, all right, here we go. Are you guys ready? Now, the rules are simple. Did you just turn into Jimmy Neutron? The rules are simple, guys. Raise your hand if you know the answer to it, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Yoda or Proverbs. The first question is, for gaining wisdom and instruction. Who said that? Yoda or Proverbs?
I can't get my hand in it.
Okay, so Peyton's hand is up. Peyton, who do you think?
Proverbs.
Proverbs. The answer is Proverbs. Good job. All right. Good job. You're making your dad proud. All right. Next question. Here we go. Do or do not. There is no try. Do or do not. There is no try. Preston, hand. Who said that? Yoda or Proverbs?
Proverbs.
Proverbs. That is incorrect. It was Yoda. Thank you for trying to go spiritual, though. All right, Yoda or Proverbs, guys. Come on, moving along. Here we go. When you summon the courage to do what others won't, you will have in life what others don't. I think Preston had his hand up first. Preston, who said that? Yoda or Proverbs?
First of all, Peyton had his hand up first.
Okay, so way to be a good, honest brother. Peyton, who said that? Yoda or Proverbs?
Proverbs.
That was Yoda. Incorrect. So what are we? Still 1-0. Peyton is winning. All right, here we go. We got to hurry. Out in the open, wisdom calls aloud. Out in the open, wisdom. Okay,
everywhere.
that is Preston. Who's that? Yoda or Proverbs?
Gotta be Proverbs.
That is Proverbs. Excellent job. We're tied 1-1. All right, here we go. I will make known to you my teachings. I will make known to you my teachings. All right, Preston has his hand up, and that is Yoda or Proverbs?
Proverbs.
Proverbs, that is correct. Look at these spiritual little giants here. All right, a little more knowledge lights our way. Yoda or Proverbs? I can't see you. I can't see you, Peyton. I can't see you. So I'm going to say Preston. Yoda or Proverbs?
Yoda.
Yoda is correct, and Preston with that one wins the game. Good job. Excellent job. I'm so proud of both of you. Peyton, I wish we could see you. I don't know what kind of filter you put on there, but anyway.
On any filter.
Happy Star Wars Day to both of you. We love you guys so much. Have a great rest of your afternoon doing homework. All right.
I
All
hate
right.
homework.
All right. So that's my boys, Preston and Peyton, on Star Wars Day. What a great day that is. All right. Man, we just wanted to share that with you guys. Hopefully you had a good time with us on that. Now, as we jump into the day, by all means, we're not making light of anything less or anything less important. We are trying to further some of the cause. I know this is a very serious time in our history, but at the same time, we're trying our best to keep this positive and to keep this at a place that you can enjoy life. All right, now we do want to raise awareness to a couple of things. Our hearts and prayers are with the people in the medical community. We're supporting some of the churches that are trying to help some of the state-funded hospitals that have not been able to get the N95 masks and stuff like that. And if you were watching the show last week, we had the pastors of Every Nation NYC, Ron and Lynette Lewis, and they are raising money for that. And if you'd like to get involved in that, you can text ENNYC to the number 77977, and we'll have that information for you at the end of the broadcast as well. But what we're doing is we're helping them raise money to buy N95 masks for some of the state-funded hospitals that can't afford to structure deals with the manufacturers like the private hospitals can. So if you'd like to get involved with that, we are trying to help as much as we can. All right. Our first guest today is someone that I've had the pleasure of working with and knowing for many years. He is the owner of Trost Moving Pictures in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And a few weeks ago, he was diagnosed with COVID-19. And I watched a video of him telling his story on Facebook the other night, and it really moved me. And really, I mean, it was just something to behold. And I saw him telling his story. I was riveted. I couldn't turn away. I watched the whole 17, 18 minutes. And I know you're going to get a lot out of him today. And so I want you to please welcome to the program a friend of mine. This is Tracy Trost, everybody. Tracy, thanks for coming and being on the program today.
Hey, Brent, good to be here, man. Thanks.
Hey, so you look well.
I feel really good right now.
Feel a lot better. Now,
you just seen me about 4 weeks ago. It was a totally different story.
Yeah, so why don't you get into it and tell us a little bit about that?
In a nutshell, I woke up, it was right around March 22nd, woke up on a Sunday, didn't feel great. And I'm not a person who really gets sick. Not that I'm super healthy, but if I do get sick, I'm sick for a day or so and then I get better. So I thought, I'll just get better. And and I'll give you the abbreviated version here because I know we don't have a lot of time, but over the next week and a half, just progressively got worse and worse and worse. Until eventually I went to a doctor and, he tested me for flu. And I said, I don't think that's what it is. This is different. And the test came back negative. And I said, I'd really like to get tested for coronavirus or COVID-19 because I think this is more than just that. Of course, when you're with this pandemic going on and you're feeling sick and it's different than normal, I'm on the CDC website and I'm looking at all the stuff, am I going to die in a week or whatever? So he couldn't do anything about it because my lungs were still working well. My saturation levels were good. So he's like, there's nothing I can do. He says, when you get to the point where you can't breathe or you have an issue like that, then go to the emergency room. So over the next, that was probably another 8 days. If you were to take and measure, like 100% is I'm doing great, life is good, no issues. 0 is you're dead. I went from when I went to the doctor, I felt like 50%. I went down to about 5%, where I couldn't do anything. I laid around all day. I slept. I was sleeping 20 hours a day. I'd sleep like 18 hours straight, get up, go to the bathroom, go right back to sleep. Lethargic, fevers off and on. The thing that stopped me from really getting any help basically is because my lungs stayed clear, which was, I'm thankful because that's usually what happens is that people who, have extreme cases, the lungs started getting infected, then the pneumonia kicks in and pretty much you can't breathe anymore. So I ended up finding a place in town where I could pay for a test. It was $250, got online, made an appointment, drove in. You're sitting in your car, they're all dressed up in their garb. And at the time, that was the only testing station in town. They jam that thing up in your nostrils, scrape the back of your head, it feels like, for about 10 seconds, and then you wait. So 3 days later, I got the test, came back positive. I called my doctor and just said, I want the hydroxychloroquine and I want the Z-Pack. And I was already taking zinc. And he said, okay. So we went through all the paperwork and did all the stuff, got it. And within 5 hours, there was a difference. I was sitting up, I was talking. My wife was like, gosh, your eyes are clear, And within 5 days, I was back to 100%. It was miraculous. So,
Wow.
people ask questions about it, because sometimes I've done many radio interviews and some TV stuff, and people want to politicize this, and should the government this or that, or did it really work? I had one guy say, well, maybe it was just a placebo effect for you, and maybe it was, but I don't care. I feel great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'd recommend anybody.
You came out the other side of it. Our guest is Tracy Trost. He's a businessman, filmmaker, media consultant, and now COVID-19 survivor. So, Tracy, it sounds like you just experienced the sickest that you've ever been, and you're laying there and you're starting to feel better. And I know that you mentioned in your video that people were asking you, what's the takeaway? What do you feel like changed in you? And I don't want to belittle the sickness, because it does sound like it's the worst experience for everybody that's had it so far. It's been a very, very bad ordeal. Yeah. But you really turned this to a positive, that you really saw something on the other side of this.
Well, I think, Brent, that's the important thing, quite honestly, because life is always going to be full of ups and downs and trials and tribulations. And I believe, if you're a Romans, 12:2 guy, that we can transform our lives by renewing our minds. And so I believe every time you have an opportunity, you can look at it as, I'm a victim or I'm a victor, or, why does this keep happening to me, or what can I learn from this thing? And so I had a person ask me that question afterwards, what was the big takeaway? And I started thinking about it, and I just started writing notes down. And I came up with 3 different things, honestly, that stood out to me, that I could share with you. I think that, could help those who are listening. And you don't have to get sick and almost die to apply these things, quite honestly, because it's something we deal with every day. So yeah. The first one is, I'm not going to remember what they are. I should have my notes in front of me.
I know the first one that you said on your video was that you really learned to live in the moment.
That's what it was, yes. Because I was thinking of the second one for some, the joys in the mundane. So living in the moment, that's something that for me personally, that's very important, because I can tend to not, I've gotten in the habit sometimes of not being exactly in the moment. Like if I'm with my family, or I'm having dinner or something, of course you got the phone sitting next to you, and an email comes in or a text comes in, and well, I got to answer that right now because it could be important, where honestly, if it could wait a half hour, it really wouldn't matter. And it's not until you're not able to be in those moments that you start to realize how important those moments are. During the time that I was sick, my family's still eating dinner, right? But I'm laying on the couch sleeping, or I can hear them, or my family's going out and sitting on the deck and talking, and I'm sitting around just, not doing anything. And after I started being able to get better and actually like go sit up and have dinner at the table, I'm sitting there at the table and I'm like, gosh, this is so nice. And one thing that I realized that was crazy is my phone was in the bedroom. You know what? And I could have a whole meal with my family and not have to check my phone. And I think you can be there with your family, right? Or with even in business, right? But actually being is the important thing. In your mind, take that moment, separate yourself from what's going on around you, and take the time just to be there, to really be there. And all of a sudden you start to realize this is really what's important in life. These are the things that really you value. And sometimes you don't realize this until you can't do it. You know? And missing dinners and missing being able to do things like that, it's really I don't know, I just missed that part of it, I guess. And that's what I was most thankful for, just sitting out on the deck with my wife and just talking. Right now we're on vacation, and my wife and I just got done taking a walk on the beach, and I was thinking about it as we're walking, and I'm like, 4 weeks ago there's no way I could have done this, and I thought how nice this was, just to sit and walk and talk, something simple. I left my phone back with the where all the blankets and stuff were, because it doesn't matter. So for those who are in business, this one will really speak to you, because it's hard when you hear that little buzz or you hear that little ding or something like that. It's like Pavlov's dog. Your saliva starts flowing, I got to check it. I got to see what it is. It's like, oh, let me see. Oh, okay. And I think we've been trained, because I think we're in a reactionary world, especially in the business cycle. And with today's, Zoom calls, text, emails, all that different stuff. It's so easy to get a hold of somebody. And if somebody sends something to you and they don't respond right away, it's like you almost feel slighted, so you don't want to do that to somebody else. So honestly, we have to realize the important stuff. It's the little things, and being in the moment is really, really important.
Tracy Trost of Trost Moving Pictures in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We wish you so much the best. We're so glad you're okay. Your story is fascinating, and if people would like to connect with Tracy, you can actually do that. I'm going to throw his information up on the screen here. You can go to Trost Moving Pictures. Let me get that up there just right. TrostMovingPictures.com. It's also Trost Moving Pictures on YouTube and TMP Studios on Twitter. Tracy J. Trost on Facebook. The story is fascinating. Tracy, thank you so much for coming and being with me today. I pray that your vacation goes well and you enjoy yourself and you actually get to live in the moment.
All right, great. Thanks, man.
All right, thanks a lot, Tracy. That's Tracy Trost of Trost Moving Pictures in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I pray that he and his wife have a great rest of their vacation as they go out and continue to live in the moment right now. Now, our next guest is being queued up. I want to talk to you a little bit about this week. We got a great series of shows planned for you. No matter what you're going through, there is something you can take away from our shows for the better. I'm going to try and get this right here. A lot of times during something like this, people are going through pain and they're going through confusion and all kinds of things. The lessons that are learned from pain are what sets you up from the next level. That's what we're going to talk about on Wednesday. Wednesday, my guest is going to be Dr. Sam Chan, leadership expert, going to be talking about improving the level of your pain or the pain threshold. We are also going to have somebody who owns one of the best comfort food restaurants in the United States, Mary Lou Emmerich of Yoder's Restaurants, going to be with us on Wednesday on the podcast. All right. Our next guest is an organizational absolute genius, guru, whatever word you want to put on it. She is the vice president of organizations and administration at one of Southern California's largest and best CPA firms. They just came off a record-breaking month in March, and they were going for another one in April. That's what they were believing for. Her husband Phil was with us a few weeks ago, and I am just so thrilled that she came on to be with us today. She has been doing some stuff on YouTube, or not YouTube, Facebook, talking about finding your voice, and I'm so glad to have with me today Dana Liberatore. Dana, how are you?
Brent, it is so exciting to be with you in this cabin fever. Aren't you having the time of your life?
We are. I can't even believe that it's taken off like it has. But anyway, First of all, let me say to you, congratulations on the big news of becoming a grandma. That's going to be awesome. We're so happy for you guys.
Got it. I'm so excited. Finally, I'm old enough to be a grandma. So there you go. We've been waiting, and we're looking forward to it.
I'm sure
Thank
you guys
so
are.
much.
I'm sure Phil is probably a mess over this too. He's going to be one of those grandpas that just spoil their grandkids. I'm sure. So, listen,
Yes.
I've been watching your videos on Facebook, and wow, they're so powerful and so good. You've been talking about being muffled and finding your voice. Can you just give us a snapshot of what you've been talking about lately, and why did the Lord lay that on your heart?
Absolutely, Brent, and I'm honored to be with you today. Thank you so much for having me. Just to answer your question, to go back to the beginning of this crisis, as we were seeking the Lord very clearly spoke to me, and this is exactly what He said. He said, "This virus, through this virus, I'm doing an innovative work in the spiritual realm. What the enemy meant for restraint, I will use for release." And that is something that I have pondered in my heart every day. It's been the plumb line for me in navigating through this, not only personally, but with our business as well, because with those very distinct words from God, we want to partner with the innovative work that He's doing. And what the enemy meant for restraint, God is using for release. And I believe that the purpose of this crisis was to restrain our voices.
Come on, that's so
You
good.
know, it's a visual that you can witness every single day when you go out of your house. It's a visual that people's voices are being wrapped and muffled. And muffling is a wrapping that is actually purposed to restrain the volume of your voice, to quieten your voice. So it really struck me the other day as I was out and about. The Holy Spirit really struck my heart with a sense of sadness to actually visualize and see the restraint as a visual every day to be covering people's voices.
Yeah. Now, our guest is Vice President of Administration of the Liberatore CPA firm, Dana Liberatore. Dana is married to a live wire, and that's the truth. Her husband, who we've had on the program, Phil, is just a social butterfly. When you walk into the room, everybody's eyes immediately find him because he's loud, he's boisterous. Dana's been a little more reserved in the times that we've been able to spend together. So let me just ask you this. How did you find your voice being attached to somebody who's so overboard?
Well, somehow I thought you were going to ask that question. And I had to lock Phil out of the room here because he said, "Oh, I'll just come in and chat with you and Brent." And I said, "No, you go back." But yeah, it's interesting because my talents really lie into strategic thinking, and I am more of a quiet person. But I think sometimes our voices are amplified at different seasons in our life that God takes us through. And I think back about many seasons where, I was a missionary, I was an adjunct professor, I was a pastor, I've had many opportunities to have a voice in specific ways. And I just think that the Holy Spirit is stirring in me to just in this season to put a new voice on and not be an echo.
Yeah.
I think this is exciting for me.
I know that so many people. When I heard you and Phil speak at one of the California events, I believe it was, and you actually spoke about being married and working on the relationship. One of the greatest revelations that I heard was what you shared that day on marriage. And I'm just wondering if there was a practical step that maybe you could give to somebody, and if it's one or two, what would it be to how they can develop who they're supposed to be?
Well, I think that you look at how God made you and your talents, and you celebrate those talents. And not only your own talents, but you celebrate the talents of your spouse. Or your employer or your coworkers, and as you understand, they're different. They're so different than me. But how do I celebrate their strengths? And I think we really went to a new level in our marriage when I really understood Phil's strengths and my strengths, so that we could celebrate each other and cheer each other on in our giftings. So, those things that bothered you in the beginning when you were dating, the things that you liked when you were dating become the things that bother you later, right?
Well, Dana, you've done a great job of harnessing and finding your voice, and I believe your message is so timely right now. Before we let you go, I want to ask you to just pray over everybody that's looking for their voice in this time, or maybe is struggling with their voice being muffled right now.
Absolutely. I'd be honored to. Father, we just come before you, and we thank you, Lord, that your word exhorts us to speak the truth in love. So, Father, I pray that through this crisis that was meant to bring restraint, Lord, that you would bring us clarity. And through this crisis, you would bring us courage, Lord, to open our mouths and allow the new work that you're doing in our hearts, Lord, to be spoken, Lord, that we would encourage one another to speak and to share, Lord, as we are examining our values, Lord, as Tracy told us earlier, his values were challenged, Lord, as he came down with this virus, Lord, and you released in him a new sense of value, Lord. Father, you're doing a an innovative work in the spiritual realm, and you are releasing in each and every one of us what was meant for restraint. And Lord, you're opening up a newness of life, of vision, and of purpose. And I just pray, Lord, for everyone listening, Lord, that you would encourage them to begin to speak in a way that they've never spoken before, that they could bring light and revelation into every situation that they face in a given day, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So good. If you'd like to get in touch with Dana or Phil, you can go to stopirspain.com. You can reach out to her on Facebook and Twitter at Dana Liberatore. Dana, thank you so much for coming and being with me today. As always, it was so great to see you. And again, congratulations on being going to be a new grandma. Give our love to Phil and the rest of the family.
Oh, thank you so much, Brent. It was a great joy. Give our love to Jody, and we love you guys. We love your family. We love what you're doing, and God bless you.
We love you too. Have a great day. All right, that's Dana Liberatore of the Liberatore CPA firm in L.A. Man, what a great group of folks those people are. Let me talk to you just real quick before we get off here. This Thursday, we're going to have a special edition of the Cabin Fever podcast, and you don't want to miss it. My wife, Jody, is going to be hosting a special Mother's Day edition of the Cabin Fever podcast. She's going to have special guests, her mom, Sharon Cook Harrison, her sister, Jenny Stavali, and our good friend, Christine Martin. They're going to be on here talking about all kinds of mom issues. They're going to be celebrating everything that makes moms and women so special. Tune in Thursday right here on the podcast at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. It's also going to be available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Now let me talk to you about something else. As the quarantine begins to wind down, as I said at the beginning of the program, there are 21 states today who have relaxed the quarantine. And although we're praying for success of those relaxing, we're praying that the virus has peaked and that it is now going to be manageable. We're not hoping for anything bad to happen. We're not just cavalier, recklessly throwing this away. We know that this is a very serious thing. We're praying for the success of this. I spoke to a doctor friend of mine last night who said that we do need to have some kind of normalcy return so that people's immune system can become accustomed to this. And now that the curve has been flattened in most of the country, now not all of the country, just said most of it, and he said that we should be able to manage cases coming in because now it'll just be a normal rate of contagiousness. Now, it should be. Of course, nobody's saying anything for sure. All right, these are just general guidelines that somebody was telling. But in response to that, Cabin Fever was birthed out of something that we wanted to just do positive when people were forced to be locked in their home. And that's what we really decided to do. When I called my father-in-law that day and I said, let's do something positive, he was like, absolutely, let's do it. And so that's what Cabin Fever got started as, okay? I have been overwhelmed by the response to this little podcast, this little thing that we all started. And I want to say that you all are fantastic, and we thank you. I do want to say this on top of that. Because of your response and because of your support, we are now going to say we're just getting started, okay? We're being forced to tighten up some things. We're going to change up some of the format. We're going to fine-tune some things and really make this a for-real show. And we can't do that without your support and your help. So we need your help in two ways. All right, two ways that you're going to be able to help us as we start to navigate the changes of improving and making this tighter and making this better. We're going to change our name, first of all. Cabin Fever really isn't going to be a relevant name anymore because people aren't locked in their house everywhere, and eventually everybody's going to have some freedom to get out and go do what they want to do. So we're going to change our name, all right? So we still want to have this positive stopping point for people during the day. We want them to be able to take a break or whatever. So we're going to change our name, and we want you to be a part of that. Why don't you, in the comment section below, just tell us what your idea for a name change would be. If you got one and you think it's, man, this would be a great idea for a name change, that's great. We'd like to hear what it is. So if you have a new idea for a name change for the podcast, and please don't do, ridiculously crazy things to try and be funny. Give us serious name changes, all right? If you come up with an idea and want to pitch it to us, message us on Facebook. You can comment below, all right? The second thing is that there have been several people who have been asking, how can we financially help you? How can we financially support the podcast? And so we are now at a place that we can do that. The Cabin Fever podcast, the parent organization over that is Direction Church, which is the church I pastor in Orlando, Florida. So what we're doing is we've just put the podcast underneath that covering. And if you'd like to be able to support us, we are a 501c3 organization and we're recognized by the IRS. If you'd like to support our show, that'll allow us, to hire some production staff. That would allow us to hire not just staff, but administrative people. We'd be able to upgrade the equipment to be, a lot better than what we have. We'd be able to build a set. We'd be able to do some other things that we would just so appreciate any support that you'd be able to give us. You could text a giving amount to 84321. You'd click the link on the screen. You'd do a search for Direction Church, set up your account, and then you can text anytime some financial support for what we're doing here, all right? You can also download our app. We do have an app, and it is called Direction Ministries. It's available on the App Store and on Google Play. You can donate through that app as well. You can also donate from the link on our Facebook page and our YouTube page. There is a link there that you'd be able to, it's pinned, so you'd be able to support us that way. So I just want to say, I'm so grateful for all of those who have stepped up and decided to help us and have asked questions about that. It just overwhelmed me when people begin to ask if there was ways that they could support us and help us to make this a real show. And so now we're ready to do that. If you'd like to help, you can sure do that. I want to say thank you again for joining us today. I hope that you were inspired to live in the moment by Tracy. I hope that you were inspired that you can recover from COVID-19. I hope that you were inspired to find your voice and allow God to do something in your life and through your life. My thanks are to Tracy Trost and Dana Liberatore. Please help us spread the word about the podcast. Click the share button right here. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to tune in Thursday. Download the Direction Ministries app on Android and Apple. You can watch, re-listen, and interact with us in so many different ways. Until Wednesday, when my guest will be Dr. Sam Chan and Mary Lou Emmerich, this is Brent Bailey. Go out and enjoy your freedom, use wisdom, walk in grace, and break the cabin fever. God bless everybody. Have a great rest of your day.